Now here's one of those special moments, one of those very rare moments that comes along once every so many years, if you're lucky. I sometimes think that I'm riding my luck, and that one day I'm going to fall off it and there'll be no more luck to ride. But this is one of those opportunities where luck has taken me. This is the magnificent broad-bordered Bee Hawk-moth, and I'm especially fortunate here because this one is in the process of drying its wings, so it's fairly recently emerged from the pupa after laying dormant in the leaf litter throughout the winter. We have an exciting and quite unique opportunity here to witness this moth maybe even taking flight for the first time in the next hour or so. This is one of those moments, one of those very rare moments that a naturalist will have throughout his career or his hobby, where everything just comes right all at the same time. Everything falls into place, and it has done here. This is a freshly emerged broad-bordered Bee Hawk-moth, an absolute beauty of a moth. And this is not its resting position. This is the resting position of a moth that has just emerged in the last half an hour or so. It's still in the process of drying its wings, and when these wings have dried, they will be held flat over the back. And what's unusual about the moth and the wings, especially at this stage, are the fact that where those wings appear grey, all those scales creating that grey coloration will fall off the very moment the moth flaps its wings or begins to vibrate its wings before flight. And then, if you're ever to see one of these beautiful moths and see it at rest, you'll see that where the grey scales are now, the wings will be clear, just with that dark burgundy bordering on both the forewings and the hind wings. This is an absolute stunning moth, a real beauty, and a once great rarity in Nottinghamshire. But now, in recent years, it's spreading, or it has spread. It was formerly confined to the Clumber Park area, with only the very odd and occasional record from elsewhere. But now, it's pretty much throughout much of the Sherwood Forest area, and it's been a range expansion that has been very, very quick indeed. This really is a super setting here in this part of Clipston Old Quarter, where the moth first appeared only 2 years ago. And it appeared in front of a startled narrator who was trying to get that typical photograph of an orange tip nectaring on bluebells. All of a sudden it was barged out of the way by a large female broad-bordered bee hawk moth, and it's a shame I didn't film it because it's one of those occasions where I was left absolutely speechless. It was my first ever sighting of this beautiful hawk moth. Historically in Nottinghamshire it's always been confined to the Clumber Park area, and it's found quite widely over Clumber Park area. But in the last few years, certainly since it started to appear here at Clipston Old Quarter, where there's a good population, but eggs and larvae of this moth have now been found over a wide area of the Sherwood Forest National Nature Reserve. It's also turned up on Thoresby Estate and a number of other sites locally. The eggs and larvae are a very easy find, and I've done a number of videos featuring those larvae and eggs and how to find them on this channel. They were in sort of May and June of 2022, so you can look those up. But to catch an adult broad-bordered bee hawk moth post-emergence like this is a real treat, and to be honest, this will probably be the only time I ever see it in the wild. And there you can see the undersides of the wings and those grey scales. There are obviously wing veins running through those areas of grey scales, and you can see that on the upper side of the wing that's just behind. I have a feeling this moth is about to hold its wings flat. It has opened the wings slightly. But those grey scales will come off, but only once the wings are warming up and the moth is warming those wing muscles up by vibrating those wings before flying. And then, although scaleless, it still has those beautiful burgundy borders. And now you can see how those wings are just slowly starting to open out. I thought it'd be a quicker process than that, but this moth is doing it ever so slowly, incredibly slowly. This is the only time, as I keep saying, that you'll see a broad-bordered bee hawk moth completely, fully scaled, so to speak. The wings actually look fairly small for the size of the body. And in terms of size, this is like a small hummingbird hawk moth, or a male hummingbird hawk moth. This is actually a male broad-bordered bee hawk moth, from what I can tell. But isn't that just absolutely stunning? Absolutely beautiful. We've even got a cuckoo calling in the background as if to serenade the arrival of this moth. And it's only a couple of days ago when I did a video, and I mentioned on that video that we were awaiting the first of these moths to appear on the wing. It seems like that moment has arrived. It's a beauty of a moth, isn't it? Those wings seem very strange. I've seen a number of these now in flight, and of course in flight you don't get a chance to look at the wings in detail, but having those soon to be transparent areas of wings covered in grey scales makes the moth look really unusual. But I just love that sort of burgundy, almost to the point of going to chocolate, border around much of the wings, both the hind wings and the forewings, and then there's that tiny sort of discal spot and the wings are the same colour, and that band continues across the abdomen, look, and just those touches of white and the hairs on the borders and the sides of the abdomen. It is a beautiful moth, absolutely beautiful, and to see it like this is a real privilege. It's nice to know that these are now on the wing, or appearing on the wing. I guess I've been incredibly lucky over the years. lucky enough at least to have had several close encounters with a rare species. Such encounters don't come along every day. That's what makes them so special when they do come round. And they usually come round purely through time spent in the field. You can drop lucky, you can just pop out somewhere and get out your car and all of a sudden you drop onto something like this, but usually it comes after many hours spent out and about in the field, good days and bad days, rain or shine. You could say it's nature's reward, and that's certainly how I look at it. And my encounter with this beautiful broad-bordered Bee Hawk-moth is one that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Such is the effect that nature can have. When nature desires to bestow upon you a close encounter with a rare species, you need to make the most of it. But most of all, consider yourself extremely fortunate to have had such an occurrence and for nature to have let you in to her almost secretive world.